my gosh, you all. Robin, I'll tell you how I know Robin in just a moment.
Hi, Christina.
Hi.
I'm here with my Sustainable Love team that supported me to get this to happen today, even though we had wonkiness at our house.
I mean, this is even better.
Yeah, I'm on stage at Center for Soulful Living in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And it's so amazing that you asked me to participate, and this is going out to so many people. I've been listening and watching. I've been so moved. Everybody is saying the same thing, which it's time to come in and do the work inside that we want to see out there. And I'm just so grateful that you asked me to participate at the last minute, of course.
Everybody was last minute. This is
Oh
a
my
last
gosh.
minute venture.
It's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Before you start, I just want to say that I met this beautiful woman, Robin Duda, when she was in a performance about Joan of Arc, y'all. We had Joan of Arc come up this morning. I have been feeling her. She's on my altar right now. What a priestess. And it was such a freaking phenomenal performance. And I'm so grateful that you are joining us now. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I mean, you're a performer too. Amazing. So one of the things that I wanted to do before I tried to do anything else is to connect with all of our viewers and all the panelists and your beautiful intention, Christina, because the performance that I want to do has to do with my awakening journey and how I've developed my soul alchemy practice based on healing myself and then working on a healing team. And then I put it into a performance piece, as you've seen some of my work before, like the Joan of Arc. But this work is really about embodying all of our multidimensionality, and they don't always get along inside. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of what I've had to go through to get alchemy, to get soul alchemy in my body. But before I jump into my performance, I would love to do a connection prayer, if that's okay with you.
Great. Yeah,
okay.
Thank you. Take it away.
I call forth the unified field of the rainbow beings, all dimensions of our soul that have been called to claim unity in our bodies, to vibrate our beingness as love. I call forth all of those that have witnessed today the beautiful intention of Christina and so many to join in community and support each other. To know we cannot do this alone. We're at a turning, and I invite all of you to open your hearts, to know yourself in your bodies as a multidimensional body, a multidimensional being. And I ask through all dimensions to support the connection among us. And this performance is an offering of the parts of us that we all have shared. And I set intention to connect all of us in a way that's authentic for each one, through self-love, through the feminine power of connection that honors the masculine strength of stability. And I set intention that this performance and this time supports wholeness for all on your journeys. Thank you. In 1990, I was awakened very fast. I was a social worker and a dance therapist in New York City. I came back to St. Louis to have babies with my husband. And instead, I'm performing outdoors, and I step on a bottle cap that pierces a wire that goes right into my electricity hooked up to the amphitheater, and I am shocked and I die. I'm 29 years old. I don't believe in God or spirit, and I'm out of my body, and I'm experiencing the most beautiful oneness. But I'm in the void. I'm in unconditional love that I've never known. I'm in a womb. And all of a sudden I hear a voice. I want to stay here. Well, you can if you want. I then receive a download and a dialogue that changed my life forever. I was told that my soul had created everything on earth that attracted in my life my desire to love myself, that my father, my mother, I had picked, that I choose when I live and die, that every person, whether I loved them or not, was a reflection of my eternal soul that I had either loved or not. And I said to Source, but I want the love of this beautiful place in my body. Why can't I have it in my body? And Source said, one thing you have to do is commit to self-love, which means loving everything that's been in your life as yourself, and be willing to love the darkest of the dark as well as the brightest light. So for the past 30 years, I have been gathering myself, my masculine, my feminine, all aspects. And what I want to present to you today is just a piece of my multidimensional discovery. And perhaps as you watch me, you'll feel yourself, you'll see yourself. And the journey that I've had to go through to become someone that could embody absolute unconditional love for others, I had to start with myself. I see everything as light. I'm one with all things. My feet, they're rooted. I feel like a tree. The sun, the stars. I'm not from this earth. I'm a star being. Get busy, get busy, get busy. But I want to go to Santa Fe. I don't need a plan. Get busy, get busy. Get it together, get it together. Get a resume. You better get ordered. You better get organized. Better get controlled. Get that all out. Get a job, get a job. You got a child. I think I'll leave my body right now. I don't think I want to do that human thing. I'll just follow the Father's light. I don't really need to feel all of that. I am earth. I am your body crying. Spirit keeps leaving me. You abandon me lifetime after lifetime. I am your body consciousness. I'm equally divine. I'm equally lovable. Do you not know I am your teacher? Mommy, I hurt. Where are you? Mommy, where are you? I am Ka. I fight for the king. I know power through my strength. Force is my God. When I want something, I take it. When I want sex, I take it. I don't need anyone. I need nothing. Well, I would love to be safe, and so I just, when a man wants to take care of me, I just, no problem, and I'll just have a little, yes. And if you ever need anything, I'll just, and then I'll be sure to have my car or my house or my friends and my anything I need. I know you'll give it to me if I just, but I don't really like myself. Come. Baby, come. Come, we're not safe. Come. 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 We're not safe here. Nobody's safe. Nothing's safe. No one's safe. I don't have any power to make you safe, so you have to stay with me. You have to stay with me, children. I'll never let you go. For years and years, I continue to meet my greatest dreams and greatest fears. And I had to find a way to bring all of these parts into union. So I began to speak to my male and all of the lifetimes, whether he loved himself or not. And I asked him, male, what would it take? What would it take to give up dominance and force and leaving the body every time you feel something you don't want to feel? What would it take, male? I'd have to give up control. I'd have to give up serving the king. I'd have to give up trying to earn love. I'd have to give up knowing everything. I'd have to give up leaving the body. I'd have to become vulnerable. I'd have to tell you the truth and her the truth. I'd have to ask for help. Yes, male. Yes. And female, what would it take for you to come out of believing that you are always powerless and a victim? What would it take for you, female, to come back to love? Oh, I have to come back in my body and really feel my fear and love it. I'd have to forgive myself for controlling when I felt unsafe. I'd have to know that he is not the cause of all my pain. I'd have to become vulnerable and open and know who I really am. Yes, female. And what would it be like if you knew you didn't have to manipulate for love and you could be in your self-love with source and earth? And what would it be like if you knew she could love you without you having to earn it? And she is not your source of love. You have your own source, inner male. Can you imagine the life inside? Can you imagine what it would be like if you loved yourself and each other? And as they integrated step by step, piece by piece, I was able to love my own husband, my 3 children, my firstborn boy. I was able to love all my clients as myself, as I embraced the darkest of the dark and forgave myself, and my male and female fell in love. They had to forgive the drama, the conditioning, and then my inner child knew my soul was on board to create the new world inside. Thank you for watching.
Robin, oh my goodness. There's 163 people watching.
Yay!
And all of us on the panel. And if we could, we are all clapping and screaming and bravo and namaste and we love you. And there were I don't know if you can see the chat or if your people can see the chat, but there's a lot of love pouring into you right now from there.
Wow. Yay.
Yeah.
Well, it's the hard work, Christina, to face the darkest of the dark and love our bodies. It's the hard work.
I know.
It's a powerful choice to make at this time, because what else can we do but really confront who this is out there in us and repair it? I mean, we are being asked to repair at levels we've never had to do. And I think it's amazing. This invitation is amazing.
It was so beautiful. I got so much activation, so many chills, and just relating on so many levels. And we're getting a lot of this from the folks watching too. Beautiful, touching. What a blessing. She's the wisest woman. So sweet, spontaneous worship and teaching. Oh, yeah. So beautiful, so powerful. Someone's saying octavation. I don't know that word, but I love that. That's beautiful. So guess what? Everything for this entire event has just like come together perfectly. Yeah. And if you want to say anything at all to sort of maybe introduce this, and then you and I can chat about it.
Well, one of the things that I'm just so delighted about is getting back to performance with all this healing work I've done. And I have, with my husband 30 years ago, or actually, 20 years ago, we started an organization called Sustainable Love Training and Guidance Center. And now it has birthed way beyond us. And we are just gathering like-minded souls to learn Rainbow Light, which is a practice that helps people consciously do soul retrieval. And so this, what you're seeing up on stage, is often what happens in a healing session, more or less, where someone has to truly meet themselves tenderly and kindly and let the trauma move and come deeply into the tissue and allow that container. So many people before were talking about, we have to get safe in our bodies in order for our soul parts and our multidimensional nature to know they can land. And so sometimes that means learning how to somatically track. Sometimes that's an exercise, physical, mental willingness to be really in your own will. Sometimes it's releasing all the ideas of who you think you are so you can just really feel what the truth is. So getting in the tissue is our top priority. Learning what love is here as humans, and especially since my first memory was being a star being, inviting my star nature to say, wow, what is the human form here to teach us about consciousness? And so that's been one of the most beautiful gifts of having a healing team around me for so many years, is whenever something hasn't, any healing practice we tried, if it did not feel like it activated more love in the tissue, we would let it go. If a soul part said, well, I have a mission, I have a vision, I know what we're supposed to do, and it caused me to sacrifice my body, we would drop that idea of service. So now we have a community growing is committed to self-love in their being as they are to service. And that's what's been said in the other panelists, that it's really this beingness that we're emanating that allows for so much transmission. And right now, the biggest thing is to not panic and to vibrate the world we want to see. I mean, I could just start crying about this because so many of us, we want to go out and help the folks that aren't necessarily choosing to feel their co-creation. And sometimes we can't do anything but pray for them. Sometimes we can, but we won't know until we really can feel who they are in us. Is that part of them willing to take responsibility? So in our community gatherings, we do rainbow light practices. We drop into our hearts and we ask, what needs love right now? And then we share from that point of view, and we listen to our wisdom from that point of view. And we've been able to form small pods of support groups and lots of healing workshops and different practices. But what's really been exciting is we now have a board that functions in unity consciousness. And it doesn't mean it always feels good. It's like as soon as something comes up, we address it. If somebody is projecting or having difficulty, we navigate it, we handle it, because it's a reflection for us. And I've never been able to create this until now, this last 3 years, in this way. And I think it's because of the times. I think it's the time to live in unity with masculine, feminine, with all races, with all walks of life, and really choose that healing path that doesn't see color, that doesn't see, whether you're from which star system, that's here to organize all of our star nature, our past life self, our warrior males with our seductress females, where all of this can say, I am worthy of love no matter what. And this is where I was just talking about our community, Christina. And this is where Rainbow Light really has come from, is an activating process, a clearing process, and a conscious soul retrieval. And we practice it almost every day. And now I'm doing, because of your inspiration, I'm doing Zoom calls twice a week.
Yay!
Just started.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Yes, your work is so powerful and people need you and in your community to grow. Yeah.
So do you have any questions or thoughts about what you saw? And because so much of what I did has been talked about. I'd love to just chat about what you feel is the biggest challenge right now and what you saw me do. Does that mirror anything of your concerns or interests?
Oh my goodness, it was so powerful. Well, immediately, for me, and we have a couple great questions too from the audience that I will pull in.
Do that. Okay.
Yeah, we can do that too. But I will say, just because, when I met you, Robin, it was like instantly we knew each other, yeah. Oh, you're doing that work? Well, I'm doing this work. I think it's kind of similar work. Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. Excuse me. I just ate a little something real quick. And what I noticed it was so beautifully performed, because I actually am a theater and dance major. That was my thing in school, right? Years ago. And I did it professionally for a long time before doing this. So interesting parallels. And I've never really seen anybody do what you're doing. And I find it really healing to watch, because I have my own versions of everything that you brought in, right? My own soul parts, my pieces that I've been working with. And so it does kind of it lit me up, in that way of oh my gosh, there's these soul lineage pieces, and just honoring each piece. That was another thing. I watched you really honoring these parts of yourself, and without judgment. There was no judgment. It just was you demonstrating these different essences as one whole, and how you're communicating internally with yourself is kind of genius, not kind of, it's really amazing. So,
well, Christina, if I had not found an organizing system, which is love, organizing system is my rainbow heart, I would have probably gone crazy.
Yeah.
I had so much multidimensional awareness so fast. And I had to find a way to organize it and love organizes everything. But then I had to understand, well, why did you have to do that? And all the parts had to understand, how am I going to love the darkest of the dark?
Right.
Well, you have to understand why, how they got that way. And then all of that deep, dark terror that I'm not lovable. At the end of the day, when you dialogue with those vicious energies, they will always tell you, I felt separate from source. I felt unlovable. And how can I ever return back to love if I'm like this? And then your own heart then just goes, but of course, God was learning through you. You can come back. And besides, if you keep hating yourself, what do you think you're going to attract next lifetime?
Right.
And that's the karma, man. I mean,
Yeah.
you keep hating yourself for being a freaking massacred person that's done war and killed and raped. You're never going to stop that pattern.
Right.
And so, I mean, and I wouldn't have ever gotten here to that understanding if I hadn't have probably had the near-death experience to see that I co-created everything, because I was very angry about being incested and having abuse in my life. And I needed to love that anger too, because that's when I got free, is to love all the emotions as the teacher to the eternal. And a lot of times as light workers, you know, we've talked about this, we want to stay up and out in the light and let light handle it in the field without really letting the tissue express and repair, because then it can open to what spirit really is like in this earth, on this earth.
Yeah. And talk about embodiment of your soul. I mean, it's like I can only imagine that through, I get really excited about this, like through that work and even through theatrical representation, you can heal that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, lots of the soul alchemy practice is movement and sound, movement and sound. We meet apart and let it move. And because it's so physical, I'm a dance therapist trained and a social worker trained. I have had therapy training, but what I'm utilizing now as a minister is all that understanding about how the soul with creativity knows how to heal in the tissue. And so many of our arts, so many of our healing arts and our ancient systems understood this. We drummed until we were well. We sang.
Yeah, right.
You know, we understood. The Aborigines, they understand. And yet there's a need to bring these energies together. The Western mind of my soul parts had to fall in love with my ancient Aborigine, my ancient Indian, my African. I had to bring them all together and say, what's loving now is what we have to follow. Present time.
Right.
Present time. Yeah.
So beautiful. Wow. Okay, I'm going to ask this question because it's an interesting question. Anonymous is asking, is it weird as a female with no kids to feel everything you said at one point? All the shadows and everything, both male and female?
Oh, it's fabulous if you could feel it all. That means you're in your body in touch. That's fantastic. That's great.
Yeah, it's not weird.
It's not weird at all. It's, you know, when you have a transmission that's embodied and you feel it in your body, that means you're recognizing that consciousness that you're working on in your own soul, in your tissue. Yeah. Or it could be an ancestral imprint too, because we feel not just our soul, but we often feel the imprints from our parents that aren't really ours. We feel ancestral contracts, past life stuff comes through ancestral energy. That's another interesting piece. I've been learning that sometimes we incarnate in our own ancestral line.
Yep.
In order, our soul needs to heal that piece. So we really want to get it. So we get the DNA going in this lifetime. And that's a doozy of a thing to heal, let me tell you.
Oh man, I so am with you. Yes, it's very interesting when you start looking at, you know, you and I naturally look at like, oh, past lives or same lives, if you want to think of like quantum physics, you know, and there is this whole thing about genes and lineage. It's very real. You know, we choose these lines that we come in with, and maybe over and over again, just like you're saying, to do this big work. It's huge. I was just seeing if anyone else had a question. If you guys have questions, type them in the chat and I can ask Robin. Otherwise, we'll keep chatting. Yeah. Okay, great. So I know that I think that you plan on, and I don't know if I should even say this actually, are you planning ever on having some kind of a performance element, like a performance group?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, we talked about that.
I know. I just got really excited. You don't have to talk about it if
Oh,
it's
no, of course
okay.
I want to talk about it.
Okay.
So one of my passions in sustainable love, we have 3 real elements, 3 sections. We're training practitioners in soul alchemy, where they can teach rainbow light and keep creating groups and healing and sharing, like the Peer Helping program. And then we have the element that you're asking me about, which is creating a group of performers that are also understanding this multidimensional nature of our beingness and doing ensemble work to teach, to tell, embody true life transformational stories. And it's called Transformational Theater for Turbulent Times.
So
and
good.
This ensemble is in formation stage, brainstorming stage. My daughter's actually a performer. I have lots of performers that have been doing the healing work. And so we're now just gathering ourselves, and we're also needing to fundraise for a lot of this because it's time to put this together. But of course, we can't physically be together right now. That's a little tough. And so I'm so devoted to performance as a transmission and a healing. So the idea was we'll perform and then the next day offer workshop of soul alchemy and rainbow light initiation and conscious soul retrieval and all of the male-female unity work that sometimes is difficult, but in a very strong container. And then a follow-up group, a group that then stays together out of the retreat, that you have a practitioner track with you for at least 4 to 6 weeks, because we all know we get excited from these experiences and then the energy drops and we forget our tools and we get discouraged and we don't have community and then everything falls apart again. And after 30 years of doing this work, I'm like, you have to keep community love going, or else you just want to quit. It's so hard. Like this event is so wonderful that you're pulling everybody together.
Yeah, it is wonderful. And I think you speak to something really, really important right now for everyone who is listening and everyone watching the recording is keep creating community this way. If it's online, if it's whatever it is, connecting to your loved ones, because there is something to that. We have created this massive energetic cauldron or vessel of love and light today that is really rippling out to your loved ones now, and it can keep going. It's not like once this shuts off, we all go away. Like we are real people doing real healing work in the world as you are. So stay connected to that which lights you up or reminds you of your light,
and nourishes you.
Yeah.
And I think so many times as light workers and healers, we believe we have to heal alone. The energies are so difficult in mass consciousness at times. We found that really, if you can't hold love in relationship, you really haven't gotten it. The relationship dynamic will show you exactly whether you're in unity or not. And so many of us have abandoned relationships just because, well, they're not in my right frequency. We abandon instead of asking the question, okay, what is this person showing me that I have not loved yet? And then that takes us out of hierarchy in community also, Christina. Like, I think one of the big changes that's happening right now is we can see what hierarchy does. When we look out there, they're trying to tell us exactly what to do to get better.
Right.
They're trying to feed us the story that they think is going to make us safe. We've lived in the patriarchy forever, and we've also had matriarchy hierarchies.
Right.
And now I really deeply feel in our bodies, in my knowing, in my human heart, that we have to end hierarchical relationships of all kinds and honor each individual as a gift So what is their gift, and how can we synergistically then evolve together, still honoring leadership, but honoring whatever someone is bringing to the table as equally valuable. And that's not an easy model. It takes a lot more work.
No, it's a lot of work. And it's a lot of what I'm seeing is how we all, like I literally right now can see all of our souls in our tribal communities once doing this, because we once knew that in order for me to be well, you got to be well. In order for you to be well, I got to be well. And that meant that when someone wasn't well, when there was dis-ease, it affects the whole community.
There you go.
Right? And so we come together for the healing. We come together because we are responsible and we are it.
Yes.
Right? So yeah, it's just so important.
You just described something that just happened in our small group. We had somebody that was, having trouble, and they didn't want to really speak up. And we were like, excuse me, don't you know that when you bring what's here fully forward, that's a matching picture for everyone to evolve? And so like that masculine that needed to be vulnerable in me, everyone's issue, if you would, is an activator of the healing of all. It really can be if we can get generous enough in our consciousness to say,
And generosity is a big piece here, a world that is about unity consciousness, where leadership flows through whoever's guiding in the moment. I mean, that's going to take a lot of generosity. It's going to take us prying ourselves away from the ego that says, in order to survive, I've got to be the one on top in charge with the most money, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be big for us to do that. And I think this is what this is. We're doing it right now.
We are doing it right now. And it is messy at times.
Right.
And it doesn't look like we think it's going to look. That's where that beautiful trust in the evolutionary process comes in. With my husband, I probably could have divorced him 10 times already in this 20 years. And every time I let go and heal who he is in me, we open again. And it's just relationships have to keep moving into that next space of ending that hierarchy of, if I'm in charge, mind over matter, or even my needs are more important than yours. All of that is just like, it's just crumbling.
And the way it does is just like you're saying, if I heal this part in me that is causing my perception of this reflection with this other person, oh, wait, the marriage is great. Like, this is awesome, but that's what it takes. And it is work, y'all. Like, just because we're moving into the new earth and things are happening rapidly on a soul level, our awakening is happening very quickly. Our healing is happening very quickly. And we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
We have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't be here if we weren't ready for it. So.
Well, we decided together, Christina, and so many of your panelists, I'd and so many people that are coming into the soul alchemy work now, they just have remembering and so many young people. I mean, 2 years ago, and my birthday, which is coming up in May, you're a Gemini too.
I am, June.
I made a commitment to the younger generation. And it was a huge decision because a lot of my clients were my age. And most of my clients have been practitioners or doctors or nurses or, therapists, have already been in the helping professions. And I said to the universe, I have to find a way to create the new experience with the young people. And they just start pouring in, and they have so much remembering. They just need support to feel safe, to know what they know, and to let that perceptual body of the multidimensional nature just be okay.
Yes.
And it's and my daughter's really guided me a lot on that. I wanted her to feel included in a community of awakened young ones. And I was really interested in seeing, like, where are the young ones that remember, and how can we hold space as, elders. I don't feel like an elder, but I am going to be 60 this year.
We need you. We need you. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a couple of great questions. Are you okay with time? Because I know is
Well,
it,
now
are
that
you
I'm
good?
here, it looks
Okay.
pretty good. I don't have to go anywhere.
I mean, you look great. You're doing awesome. And we have a couple more minutes, so
Okay,
I'll ask
great.
you these questions that some of our audience has asked. So, Anonymous asks, I love how you encourage healing with the body, as many patriarchal spiritual teachings encourage leaving the body.
Mm-hmm.
How can I heal using my body as a sacred instrument and
Mm.
bring through the rainbow light?
Wow.
Aw, yeah.
Well, we have classes about
I was gonna
exactly
say
that.
you might need to
Oh,
sign up with Robin. We'll
yeah,
definitely send out your contact, what you're
yeah.
offering right now, so
But
people can know
before they
that.
come, I can give a couple of tips on that.
Yeah, sure.
The biggest thing that I have found that gets me in present time is to go into somatic tracking. And Peter Levine helped co-create this. There's so much research
Mm-hmm.
now about what does it really mean to be in the tissue and let trauma naturally move. So every lifetime that you've ever died in a pandemic, any lifetime you've ever been murdered, that fear of that death that was traumatic has often repeated this life. So
Yes.
when the soul comes in the tissue and says, holy cow, I'm paranoid of going on that ship of water, getting on that ship where the water and I drowned and blah, blah, blah. You've got to get in your tissue to resolve that in present time. You
Yes.
cannot heal the soul trauma in the mind. You can only heal it in the tissue. So when you breathe into the somatic work, and you guys can look this up, this is what we teach in our
Yeah.
classes, but that means tracking, experiencing, which we could do before I leave if you want, Christina, just
Okay.
going down into the breath, feeling the sensations of the tissue, the texture,
Mm-hmm.
the vibration, the temperature, the weight, going down, in. I could go into this right now, but
You can if you want to. We have 10 minutes before we start the next panel.
why don't I do that at the last 5 minutes to
Perfect.
help everybody
Yeah.
ground in, and then they'll be really available for the next thing.
That's great. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll
All
do another
right.
question, and then this person that wanted to know about that, just also invite your soul's knowing of rainbow light, which is the multidimensional remembering of your soul parts recognizing each other.
Mm.
Okay, rainbow light is the reflection of every dimension in every lifetime recorded in frequency. So
Mm-hmm.
when you're invoking rainbow light, you're saying, soul, I want to remember all my parts. I want my parts to know that they're here to learn about love. And the rainbow light is my wholeness being remembered.
Mm. I
And
love
so you
that.
can start praying about that. You can start working with it on your own. But the key is to know the rainbow light in the heart is what will organize your nervous system to receive the information.
Mm-hmm. That's juicy. I learned to use rainbow light as a psychopomp, so as a guide of souls
Mm-hmm,
from one life to another. So that's one thing
mm-hmm.
I do is death doulaing basically. But
Wow.
that's what I use is the rainbow channel kind of. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Makes perfect sense though if you take what you're saying the rainbow light is with that, because the big hope for those of us who work shamanically is that all those soul parts get to join as one, so that when someone transitions they don't have to come back into constant, right?
That's
It's
right.
so cool.
That's
Yeah.
right. Because
Yeah.
when you are in your wholeness, where the soul has taken responsibility for this life, when the
Mm-hmm.
soul says, I love every experience and this tissue and this gender that I chose and my experiences all have meaning and I love everything about that, your whole soul then can evolve and move on in any choice place it wants to go.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So let's take this last question here. How do you find, this is from Michelle, how do you find the courage to speak your truth after being rejected by so many? You said if we share, then it helps others collectively grow. But when I have spoken in the past, I was rejected by my family.
Ah, what a powerful question, Michelle. I can feel you. That's my story too. I
Right.
had to be willing to say aloha to my birth family that could not understand what I was about. And sometimes they come back in and say, "Hi, how are you doing?" And we're friendly and kind. And I had to ask who they were in me to repair. If I had a judging brother and that was a businessman and thought I was kafui, I had to say, "Okay, who's that in me?" A sister that has a lot of other issues than me and is a psychologist and doesn't want to look at anything spiritual. Okay, who's that in me? So I don't judge them for their journeys now. But I had to get into such sacred self-love with my gifts and know that there's so many of us that have felt hurt and scared to be authentic. And that my greatest gift was just to let that be okay. We've been hurt. We feel rejected. We're human. We want to be accepted. So I have a new tribe now. I mean, I have gorgeous friends. I have a beautiful community that have all chosen similar things as I have and similar values. And so it's painful, but that grief also helps for you of saying goodbye to asking your parents or your siblings or your cousins to be the love that you need to give yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the big commitment here, is if you are still looking for acceptance from your family, you're not sovereign. You're not free.
Right.
You're just not.
You used the word aloha at first, which stuck out for me because it means hello and goodbye. And that word allows, this is just my reading on it in this moment, is that word allows the pathway of love, the possibility of the pathway of love to still flow if you choose as a genetically
Yeah.
connected family, right? So
Yeah.
instead of goodbye and like cutting someone off, although you may
Right.
have to do that kind of in a physical sense,
Mm-hmm.
in an energetic and spiritual sense, I think aloha is a really nice term. I love that.
Because the love doesn't stop towards our family, but the longing that they get us, the longing that they accept us, the longing that they approve of us, that's what
Right.
dissolves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes it is literally like a breaking away. Like I left my family in Washington State to go to college in New York City. Why? Because I got as far away in this country as I could. I didn't know it at the time.
Yeah.
And I love you, Mom. I think she's watching. I love you more than anything. It wasn't about like leaving them, but it was like that sovereign piece. Like I had to get free.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like we have the best relationships in the world. You know what I mean? Like I'm so
Mm-hmm.
grateful, but that was because of me.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Choosing
yeah, choosing.
to accept her and not trying to change her, probably, is my guess.
My
You
whole
probably,
family. Yeah,
right.
everybody for sure. Yeah. Well, thank you, Robin. I know that just so you know, Michelle says thank you so much for your
Yay.
answer to her question.
Yay.
I thought that was
Should we
sweet.
do a somatic grounding?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. I almost
Okay.
forgot. Thank you. Let's do
All
that.
right. Well,
Yeah.
I'm probably going to close my eyes, so I won't be able to see your beautiful face, but I
That's
know you'll be
perfect.
there when I'm back.
I'll be here. You know it.
Ah. So, inviting everyone to really notice if you're sitting down or if you're laying down, see if you can start to notice where you're breathing from. Are you breathing from your belly? Is your breath going up into your head through your nose? Don't judge it, just notice. How are you breathing? What opens when you take a breath? Just notice it. And as you're noticing that breath, see if you can take your witnessing self, your soul self, your higher self, all of your spiritual, mental awareness, and bring it down to your feet. And notice the temperature of your feet. Is there a coolness, a warmth? Can you get so in your feet that you can feel the texture of the carpet, the socks, the place your feet are contacting fabric? Get so deep in your feet. See if you can notice if there's a vibrational pulse in your heels, the balls of your feet, your toes. Is it just a buzz? Tingles, whatever it is, just notice it and watch it. Feel it. Connect to it. And take a deep breath in. And now inviting on the exhale, a dropping deeper into the tissue, down into your bottom, your pelvic floor. Noticing if your left hip is heavier than your right hip. Are there colors there? Tingles, warmth, shapes, colors. And now I'm just going to invite an intention to breathe your unity, soul, desire for wholeness. Just breathe it in through rainbow light through the top of your head and send it down with the breath, down to your feet. And imagine there's rainbow roots growing through the bottoms of your feet, down, 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 down. That's it. Let your body quiver, whatever it wants to do. And allow soul, and you can say this out loud, soul, I receive my wholeness in my body through rainbow light. Down your tissue, down your bones, your blood, the water, the earth, the nervous system, fire, the air, the molecules, down, down, down. Grounding, wholeness, grounding. Breathing up from the earth, whatever nourishment you need, breathing up rainbow light from the earth. Inhale, and let it come into your heart. And exhale out the heart. Another inhale of rainbow light from earth. Let it come out of the top of the head like a dolphin spout. Woo! Beautiful, everybody. Ha. And now inviting your left hand on your heart. Just say I to yourself or out loud. I choose the wisdom of my wholeness, of my eternal soul's knowing, my higher self, and what my body knows love is today. in present time. Whew. And so it is.
Wow. Do y'all feel the rainbows or what? Wow, I love it.
I love you.
I
I
love
love rainbows.
you.
I love
Aw.
all this journeying. It's just been so beautiful today. I had no idea what I was getting into, and watching and listening has just been so gorgeous. Just so beautiful.
Well,
Thank
you were a perfect piece to this puzzle, and the performance, what a beautiful offering, truly. Um, yeah, so we will make sure. I know there's people asking Robin about your classes and things, so we need to make sure to send out all your information.
SustainableLove.com is our new website that we're working on. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Thank you
right,
so much.
sister. Thank you. Thank you. I love
Okay.
you. Mwah.
Bye.
Please send my love to your camera crew and all of the people that made this possible.
All right. Bye.
Bye.